Welcome to Pario Magazine, where I chat with individuals who have a desire to create. Today, I'm joined by the latest Australian to take the leap and move to the US to pursue a passion for wrestling. Welcome to Pario Magazine, Shazza McKenzie.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So we're here today to chat about the big decision to move to the US. Before we dive into that, though, do you want to give us a brief intro as to who Shazza is away from wrestling?
Away from wrestling, a hot mess. I'm 34. I've Wrestling has been my life for the last 15 years. So do I have a life outside of wrestling? Maybe, maybe not. I have been working in the fitness industry as well for the last 15 years, on top of my wrestling career. And I don't know. I'm just a weirdo. I'm a very strange person, I think. But I think we all have to be very strange to have the desire to be dropped on our head for a living or whatever.
Yep, makes sense. So the last time we spoke was in Sydney after the first Will Ospreay appearance at PWA. But
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Downstairs in the bar.
yep.
I remember.
And since then, a lot has changed for Australian wrestling and yourself. Obviously, the main one being
Yes.
this big decision to move to the US to pursue the wrestling dream. What was it
Yes.
that led to that decision?
A midlife crisis. Basically, the pandemic happened. 2020, I was supposed to come over here for a 3-month tour. I got off the plane, the world ended, I got sent back home. We were locked in our houses for 2 years. We weren't allowed to leave the country. As soon as we were allowed to leave the country, I was like, okay, I've got to make up for this trip that didn't happen. So I did like a 3-month tour of America in 2022.
Mhm.
And then once I came home from that, I kind of went, okay, well, it's either I'm at the point in my career where it's either I'm gonna just stay in Australia and retire and I don't know, be an old lady. Or if I'm gonna make a move, I have to make a move now because time is of the essence and yada yada yada. And I have to make the move one while I've got momentum behind me and as far as my career goes, and two while my body is still feeling okay and gonna let me do stuff. So basically it was probably within a week of coming home from that tour, I got in contact with a lawyer and started the process.
Oh wow! So it's been sort of in the
Oh
works
yeah,
for
this was
quite
a
a while.
very long process. Very long, exhausting, expensive process.
What is that sort of process like? I imagine there's a lot of paperwork and sort of legal loopholes that you have to jump through.
Yeah, I found a really good lawyer that handled so much stuff for me. I basically had to prove to the US government that I was exceptional in my field, and that I would basically, to get a visa in America, you have to prove that you're not taking someone else's job.
Mhm.
You need to prove that there's a reason why you have to do this job, not someone else. So I had to list all my accomplishments, silly things like PWI rankings and stuff like that all helped, or any news articles about me, everything like that that showed that I was actually worthy of
Noteworthy or
this.
something.
Yeah, noteworthy and important, that I wasn't trying to steal someone else's job. I was just trying to do my job in America. And yeah, it's I had a very good lawyer. It was very expensive, but I had a very good lawyer. And they made the process quite smooth for me. So I'm very happy with how that all went.
Were there any sort of setbacks along the way that made you sort of question the decision to try and do this big move?
No, I had to pause on because I knew I had a second trip in October planned. So there was like certain things I couldn't like process until that was done, because you can't like have certain things in process and then also be going into the country and stuff like, so there was like things like that, which like I probably could have gotten it earlier or whatever, but I also wanted to make sure, one, that I was like in a financial like state that I wasn't going to come over here and like die. And like two, that like I was like mentally prepared and ready or whatever. Like a lot of people, like I put the announcement out that I was moving, and it was like 2 weeks later I was here. But like for me, that was like
8 months of build
eight,
up or
nine
something.
months. Yeah, like yeah, like I was like I didn't announce it until like it was physically in, like as soon as it was physically in my hand, I said, okay, let's go. We're doing this. But like I waited until that moment.
Kind of like that old wrestling adage where it's not real until it's like happening.
Yes, and I can absolutely attest to that because I've had many an opportunity taken from me.
And you mentioned that tour in 2022. Was that like a great taster for you? Like, okay, yes, this cements the idea. Yes, I do need to be here rather than in Australia, just doing the same things over and over.
Yeah, I think so because the original idea for the tour was that it would be like my last visit to to America, and like I would do the tour and like be like, okay, I proved to myself that I like did belong and did deserve the opportunities that I was getting, because I was getting a lot of opportunities before the pandemic, and like I think there was a lot of like not like not backlash, but like there was a lot of naysayers that were like, oh well, Shaz doesn't really deserve this. Like there's so many other people that could do this instead, and blah 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 blah. And so I needed that trip was to prove to myself that everything that these dickheads were saying wasn't true, and that I did actually deserve it and earn it and like work hard, and that I am good at this wrestling thing.
Mhm. And now that you are in the US, is this a permanent move, or is there like a time frame where you've set for, I want to make something happen in this time period and then maybe go home? Or
Um, Look, I have a 3-year visa. Um, I can extend it. I can do. There's things past that. I don't intend to like. I'm not intending to go home. That's not like on my plans. But there's also not like a set goal. Like I'm not trying to get a job or get signed or whatever. I'm trying to make a living doing what I love, which is independent professional wrestling. Not that I will happily take your TV contracts for lots of money, Mr. Tony Khan. But creatively and mentally, I'm satisfied with what I'm doing, and my goal is to be able to do this and make a comfortable living.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I think that's probably what will lead to the best success, where you're just enjoying what you're doing, not
When when you have fun and you're happy and like you're not freaking stressed about silly things that don't matter. And
yeah, you're not bringing that extra baggage in every weekend. Like, I have to prove myself each match.
exactly, I just want to enjoy myself. I mean, I do I put a lot of pressure on myself because I also know that my existence on the um on the independents probably means that there's like one person that probably would have gotten booked on that show that isn't getting booked, and so I have to make sure that I consistently earn my spot, and can like we're never phoning it in. Where every show is trying to be better and trying to learn from the experience, no matter what we're being given, what is being asked of me, making sure that I'm doing the best with what that is.
Especially in the US now, where there is a lot more competition for those spots.
Exactly.
And do you feel that you are learning a lot more now that you are wrestling a lot more than you were in Australia?
I think like every time I've come, like I've said this for years, every time I come to America and I wrestle, even when I was just doing like 2-week trips and I was doing Shine and then Shimmer and then going home, the way that wrestling happens here, it's so like, you just have to do it. You don't have time to think and be like, oh no, I don't know what I'm doing. Like you just have to do it. And like, I think there's a certain stuff that you just learn by you just being thrown in the deep end that we don't necessarily get in Australia. In Australia, thanks to like the fact that we don't wrestle super regularly, we got a lot more training time. Like there was a lot more time in ring training. So our fundamentals are so good. A lot of the wrestlers in Australia have some of the best fundamentals that you'll ever see. But there's just certain things that once we're out in front of a live crowd that you just kind of have to just learn and do.
Yeah, it's those two different sides of the profession where you have the basics, but then you also have the performance aspect that you don't get in Australia as much.
Exactly.
And you've now been in the US for a couple of months now, but you've already achieved some major milestones, most notably your appearance on Ring of Honor. How did that moment come to be, and how special was that moment for you?
So that was really important because the whole reason I wanted a work visa mainly is because no one with a TV show will touch you without a work visa, which is frustrating because you can be here and they because they can't pay you, they can't like legally use you. Wrestlers that are American take for granted how easily accessible success is for them. Like if they just applied themselves, like it's right there. Whereas like in Australia, there's hoops and things we've got to jump through just to get like seen. So like getting the work visa was really important, and I posted the video on Twitter, and I got asked to come to the taping 8 minutes later.
Oh wow!
I said, okay, yeah. So so I was like, this was like I had the email came through. I posted it at 12, like midday, and the email came through at 12:08, and I was like, good. This is the whole reason I was doing this, was so that I could do such a simple thing. Like to everyone else, they're like, oh well, like there's people that'll be like, well, I don't know if like jobbing on like Ring of Honor is really for me or whatever. But like I got to wrestle on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I got to wrestle on TV. Like what? I got to be seen. People know who I am. I was able to be opened up to this bigger fan base. Like there's just, even if I never go back again, just being able to legally do that was all I wanted.
And it was like this new era of Ring of Honor too, in a big stadium, not a small little hall somewhere.
And I'd never done Ring of Honor before. Like it was always one of the ones that I'd never done, and I was very sad that when it closed that I'd never done it. And so now I've done it. Now I've got to get like an actual Impact match and an actual NWA match, and then I'll be like satisfied. Because I've got some like of those like the digital media matches happening for Impact, but I want like in the Impact Zone. Impact Zone? Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up those Impact ones being
Sorry.
featured on the YouTube channel. Did you know that was going to happen, or did that come as a bit of a surprise to you as well?
I found out after, like, once they posted the first one, they posted me and Jordan Grace, and then I was told that like all of the matches from World Series Wrestling were going to be uploaded for the digital media thing. So that means, in my calculation, there's at least one more match of mine scheduled to be uploaded for that. So who knows when that'll be? Who knows why they keep using that horrible promo photo of me? Don't know. If someone just wants to ask me, I have so many promo photos, guys. I do a photo shoot like every week. I have so many photos. It's a photo that was taken. I think what it is a photo that was taken at World Series Wrestling, like directly after I won the belt.
Yep.
So it's like the photo that they have of me, like World Series has of me, because they don't have any like just regular promo photos of me. So I think that's what that is. But
yeah, when that popped up, I was like, oh, thanks guys. Like they've done Shazza dirty there.
You can't win them all, so it is what it is.
And could that perhaps mean that down the line we might get Shazza in the Impact Zone?
That's the goal. I mean, I'm here now, so hey, Gail. No. But yeah, no. That would be a goal. Absolutely, to wrestle in the Impact Zone. To work for Impact is definitely high on my list of things that I want to do.
Yeah, well, I guess you've done NXT, AEW, ROH, So yeah, there are those other two major ones that you need to tick off now.
Yeah, Impact and NWA. We'll get there though.
Yep. And then another notable moment for you since moving to the US is rekindling the feud with Sean Ross Sapp. How are you feeling about that one?
I love hate Sean Ross Sapp. He gave me crap today because there was a nail in my tire and he sent me a text message that was silly. No, I adore him. I cannot wait to beat him up.
Yeah, he
Because
keeps
I'm
jumping
going to. Yeah, but that's because he's very public about where he's going to be, what conventions he's going to be at. I'm going to jump him. He just doesn't know when.
Very good.
That's the problem. We're both public figures. We can both find each other.
Yeah, it's not like we don't know
Our
where each
schedules
other
are
is
out
all
on
the
the
time.
internet. I'll find him. Don't worry. Also, he lives like, I don't know, 4-hour drive from me, maybe 5 hours. I don't know. I have no sense of geography. But like, if I wanted to, I could just go drive down there and beat his ass. I won't, but I could. That's the point.
You could do was it Randy Orton and Triple H home invasion style?
Yes. Stress.
And then looking ahead, your schedule is incredibly busy. How are you feeling ahead of the remainder of this year?
I'm like I love wrestling, so sometimes I'm always like, oh, I don't have that much stuff, and then I look at my schedule and I go, oh no, I have like a lot of stuff, like a lot. So we're figuring it out. Like we could always have more, but it's always everyone always wants the same date, and I'm like, come on, guys. Run a different everyone's always running like the first Saturday or the first Friday or whatever. It's like there's like 3 other Fridays and Saturdays this month. Everyone run them. But overall it is working out good. I also have in my calendar scheduled in tentatively a Taylor Swift concert that I do not have tickets to, but I am determined. I'm like sure, I'm hoping that on the day that the tickets prices like drop, because like all the scalpers need to sell their tickets. So I'm holding out. I don't know if that's going to work out for me. I might end up having to use the old credit card, but
an
I am
exorbitant
going to
amount to
Taylor
go to
Swift,
Taylor
okay?
Swift.
I'm going. Like I am going. There is nothing. Like I'm like I physically am here. Like as if I'm not going to go. Like I have to.
Yeah, especially looking at your social media feed, it would be very weird
I
if you
have
didn't go to
to.
at least one.
Right, if it's right here. Like imagine she's just right there and I don't go. I couldn't. I have to.
I guess that's the other joy of being in the US. You get all of these big musicians and comedians and
Just
everything.
things constantly. Like you can just be like, oh, like I want to go see. Like there's just so many things happening all the time. And if I was rich, I'd do a million things all the time. Unfortunately, I'm not rich. But one day when I am rich, I'll just like be like, hey, I'm just gonna go to New York for the weekend and like go to New York and act crazy or something. I don't know. We're just gonna figure it out.
And now that you have all of these opportunities ahead of you, what are some of the goals that you've set aside from Impact and NWA, and who are some of the dream opponents?
My dream opponent is still Deonna. It's always Deonna, Marsha, reluctantly Janela, because he's going to beat the crap out of me if I ever wrestle him. But he's still on my like top 3 list. It's still Deonna, Marsha, and Janela. But yeah, I think that's it. Like I just think we'd have really good matches. I do, but hey, who am I to complain that I'm still getting booked and busy, but I would like to be booked and busy against them.
Perfect. And perhaps rekindle the rivalry with Steph DeLander as well, now that you're both local.
Me and Steph, we got to have like a whole like story arc where we're like a tag team and then we like fight each other and then we become friends. So many things we can do, but she's killing it right now. The stuff with Cardone, I love watching her thrive. Like, it just makes me so happy seeing the success just like come to her, because she deserves it. She's an absolute fucking superstar. Sorry, I keep swearing. She's a superstar and she worked so hard and she sacrificed so much. And so to see it all like actually working out and like seeing her have fun and enjoy what she's doing is like amazing. And I'm so happy for her.
I guess that's kind of the goal for you as well. Like you've sacrificed everything to take your whole life and move it to the other side of the world, and now perhaps I can move in that direction as well.
Yeah, I need my own Cardona.
Janella.
Not my own Cardona.
Or Sean.
Yeah. Me and Sean. Sean can just give me like a percentage of Fightful. That's what, and then I'll be fine. Then I'll be rich.
Yeah, then you'll be rich. Be able to go
He
to every
accidentally
Taylor
showed
Swift
me how
concert.
much they make, and I said, sir, but we're gonna discuss payment for all these promos we're doing together.
1 or 2%, Sean. Thank you.
Exactly, it'd be fine.
He's not going to notice that, but it'll change your life.
He's not. Exactly.
Okay, so finally, where is the best place for people to support you and track your creative journey moving forward?
So my social medias are Twitter and Instagram. I have Facebook, but I don't use it. So Twitter and Instagram are at Shazza_McKenzie. In there's like a link tree that will get you to like all my merch stores and my content sites. So my OnlyFans is the #1 place that you can support my career. I still have Brand Army and Patreon as well for people that don't want to use the OnlyFans platform. But I am most active on OnlyFans. But I'm still active on both of those sites regularly. Pro Wrestling Tees, I've got a bunch of new designs coming up. I'm actually picking up some new shirts tomorrow so that I can finally have shirts to sell at shows, which I'm excited about because it's all about the merch game, right? But yeah, social media is where it's at.
Perfect. And you should have your Oz Wrestling cards at some point too.
Yes, but I figured that out. I'll figure it out eventually.
They're at a post office somewhere. But have no idea where.
Where?
Yeah. So that's everything. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, and good luck with chasing this wrestling dream.
Thank you.